Welcome to Pure Phuckery, the podcast. I am your host. It's your favorite Dr. Bae, Monique Ross. Today's episode, I got my homegirl Arlena here, and we are talking the lack of information and the lack of financial literacy in the Black community. Arlena, go ahead, introduce yourself. Say what's up to the fuckers out there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arlena. So I came on the show with Ms. Ross today to speak on financial literacy in the Black community and the lack of information we have about life insurance and properly protecting our family. So that's the topic we'll be speaking on today.
All right. So, Arlena, tell us so you reached out to me. We started talking about coming on the podcast. What's your motivation behind this? Like, what inspired you to want to communicate and have this conversation on camera about financial literacy? Because I personally, I know why, but tell them why you want to have this conversation.
Well, for starters, we basically, in our community, we don't have the conversations at home about finances. If we do, that's because we're already in a bind.
Yep.
So most of the time it's already too late to, try to discuss what we should have done.
Right.
So credit is a real big thing. So we don't discuss credit amongst ourselves. It wasn't discussed when we were younger. Our parents didn't pass that information down to us because they didn't know. So you find that a lot of people your age, people who are older, people who are younger, they don't know the information about credit. They don't know information about financial literacy. They don't know information about making investments. So trying to get your IRAs and your 401ks, and basically how to create a situation where you can have assets instead of the liabilities. We have way more liabilities than any other culture.
Yes.
And we pass that off down to generation to generation, and we're wondering why we have kids who are 21 and 22 can't take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Because they weren't learned that at home.
Yes, absolutely. I absolutely agree. Working in, you guys know I work as an HR professional. That's my vocation. So just in previous positions that I've been in, when we talking just abroad financial literacy, previous positions that I've been in where I get grown people, like straight grown ass adults, and even young adults, 18 and up. That's who I work, that's the main age group of the workforce that I supported. And these people would come in, they didn't know how to complete W-4 forms, your tax forms, don't know how to complete like I-9 forms and just different forms that you need that are required when you're starting a new employment. They didn't know how to do that stuff. Some of them didn't know their social security numbers and stuff like that. And it's like, that's information you need to have. You need to know your social security. Like, as a grown-ass person, you need to know your social security number. You need to know what that number, how it affects your life. It goes with you forever. And people don't understand that. And it starts in the home. You know what I'm saying? It starts within the home. But I've always thought, like, why isn't that something they don't teach in schools? You know what I'm saying? Why is there not a financial literacy course that they don't provide to high school students coming out of college? They push so heavily or coming out of high school, they push so heavily go to college, but don't even have the conversations with them, telling them, there's alternatives, because they don't push 2-year programs like plumbing, and they make you think that that's like the below the totem pole, the bottom of the barrel, like, and it's not. Like, plumbers make good money, electricians make good money, and you come out of go to school and do that program, and you're gonna come out of it with way less debt than you would going into a 4-year college and going away to school. And they push it on you because it's all it's all that money. It's all changing hands. It's all a cycle that, like you said, it's all a cycle that just, it feeds off into it, and the money changes hands. Like, we need to get educated, and we need to know, like, when it comes down to your educational background. And I know y'all look at me like, well, you went all the way. Yes, I did, but I didn't have to go through the processes, or I didn't get in a massive shit ton of debt with my education. I had resources that were available to me, so I utilized the resources that were available to me, but not everybody's as fortunate. And you see people who constantly complain about like the student loan debt. Like that's massive.
It is massive.
It's massive. And not to get us off the subject, because
that's still part of financial
yes. But yeah, like, you know, the student loan debt and how, you know, Biden's plan to erase student loan. Like, if that happens, great. Like, that would be awesome. But I really don't see how he's going to make that happen, because that's too many. He's dipping into too many other people's pockets when it comes to that student loan debt. And it's like trillions and trillions of dollars that we get into debt going to school, and then we come out of school. And I got friends and family members who weren't as fortunate as me to end up in the career field that they went to school for. Like, one of my old homegirls I went to undergrad with, we both went and pursued careers in HR. She's never worked a day in HR in her life. She actually does hair now.
Right.
And spent $40,000 on a degree. And now is working as a hairstylist. And, you know, I've had the conversation with her, like, she loves doing hair, but you just went and paid $40,000 for a degree that you're never going to use. You know what I'm saying? And that shit ends up affecting your credit and stuff. You don't pay them loans and stuff, it's going to affect you, and it's going to follow you your entire life. And anyway, go ahead.
So with that being said, you get into a situation where you come out, graduate, you have the student loan debt. You get over into something that you didn't even go to school for. Regardless, that student loan debt is still owed.
Exactly.
So when you teaching, and when we're teaching in terms of speaking at home with the finances and the investments and the economy, period, we have to understand that we should push our children to be more into trades. So I'm not into the whole every kid needs to go to college. I'm not. I have a lot of people say to me, like, that, what do you mean they don't have to go to college? Well, because college puts you in a rat race. So if you're telling me to go to school to get a good job, and then you're telling me to get a good job or career when I come out of school, then I have to pay off the debt that I got from the school with the job. But when I get the job, I'm making half of what I made in student loan debt. So I have $60,000 worth of debt, and I'm getting paid $35,000 a year. Somebody lost.
Somebody absolutely
regardless,
lost.
And then that's not even including interest. So whatever is going on with that, once you finish with that, once you get into your job, you're working 5 or 6, 7 years, they give you 20, 30 cent raise, you still losing. So it's still a rat race that you still have to continue. Most people do what you did. They go back to school, they take out more student loans, and luckily you were in a fortunate situation where you were able to have those resources where it paid into the fact that your student loan debt was less than most than other people. That's not the case for everybody. And I think we throw those titles around, the PhDs and you know, the other degrees that we have, bachelors and stuff like that. And we don't realize that once you get all of that and you get $100,000 worth of debt or whatever, then you go get the jobs where you are making the $20,000, $30,000 a year. Eventually, it'll come to a point where people, your counterpart may be more fit for that job than you. So regardless of what the situation is, you still have to find another thing to do. So if you have that trade, you can still do something. You can do the truck driver. You can get your own trucking business started. You can do the plumbing. You can do the electrician. You can do, because once the people who are doing these jobs now, the older men who are doing the construction and all that, once of those people are no longer here, they've expired, who takes over that?
Everybody is
going into areas that we don't need.
And the world we need construction workers. We need welders. Like, one of my homeboys is a welder. This man, he's like, we were sitting up talking just on a humbug one day talking, and like I found out he make more annual money annually than me, and I'm like, you what? He's like, yeah, man, I make good money. And he travels, like I guess his area of expertise is so heavily sought after, so he travels with it. And this man, he said I make a good living, a really good living. But you know, like you said, education. I'll tell y'all a story, which I probably already told y'all this once before, and I was telling Arlene about it before we even turned the camera on. Like, my oldest son, you know, he went off to college, and he had these big dreams, big aspirations. He's like, Mom, I'm going to go into the music industry. He's like, I'm moving to New York after college. He was dual majoring in music industry studies and music business merchandising, and minoring in, or he was doing business administration and music industry studies and minoring in music business merchandising. And he had this whole plan. He's going to leave for college, move to New York. And he just came on his birthday the last year. He says, I don't want to do school. He said, I don't want to do school. He's like, just think about all the time and money and everything, energy I'm going to save you by not going back to school. Because me being mama bear, every chance I got, I was up in Indiana seeing him, dropping him off some food, whatever. Just really trying to be supportive of him. And when he told me that, I was really kind of taken aback because he saw how hard I worked to pursue education. He saw... Because, like, I didn't have shit when I had him. I had my oldest son. He was born a day before my 19th birthday. And I didn't have a game plan. Didn't know what I was going to do. And we straight came up together. And it was crazy because, like I told you, when he finished high school, his high school graduation was the same weekend as my graduation when I completed my PhD. So I ended up not going to my graduation or whatever. But I just was like, this crazy how we reach these milestones together. It took me basically 18 years to go through this whole process of getting this PhD, which I never had any intention on getting a PhD. When I finished my master's program, I was like, I'm done with school. And then next thing you know, I'm back in school. But I say all that to say this. When my son came back and said he wasn't going to finish college, I was just like, I took it really hard. I really took it hard. And the more I sat back and I thought about it, and he really came, you know, with a game plan. And because he actually set up and he thought about it, and because I said, you're going to have to come up with something. You're going to have to do something. Like, what's your plan? What's the plan? I said, when you get a solid plan, you let me know. And he came back and he's like, real estate and trucking. At first, he was talking crazy. He's like, I'm going to move to LA and become an actor. And I'm like, dude, you hella shy. You hella quiet. And everybody's, well, those are the type of people that go and make it big in that type of industry because of how he is. And I was just like, I couldn't imagine sending my kid off to Cali and him going out there to pursue a career in acting. Like, I'm going to go with you. You know, if my 12-year-old, my youngest, say, Mom, I'm moving to Cali, I will let him go and it will be all good. But this one, I'm like, no, you cannot just, no, sir, no. But he has a game plan now. He's figured it out. And he's actually in the process of pursuing it. And y'all know he does the edit. So, Jay, do not delete this because he hate when I talk about him. So, he'll edit this whole little thing out and take out everything I just said about him. You bet not. And don't delete that either. Let them see me telling you. Don't play with me. But anyhow, yeah, so he has this completely different game plan. And he's on the path to pursuing all of this. And I'm looking at him like, okay. I feel in my heart like, okay, I had to have done something right for him to reach this point where he's like, because one day he's like, Mom, I don't need a degree to own a company. But guess what? People need degrees to come work for that company that I own. And the way, you know, how his thought process and how he put it on the table to me, I'm like, you know what? He's absolutely right. So I'm going to just chill out and let him do what he's going to do. And we going to see where he go from there. And I wish everybody had and I say this and I say it, but I don't mean like no disrespect to nobody. I just wish everybody had the support that my kid has. I wish, like, I'm to him who I wish I would have had coming up. You know, because I probably would have pursued other dreams and aspirations that I had. My parents pushed education. Pushed education.
That's traditional.
And that's why I pursued it so heavily. But had I had a me in my life, I probably would have went a completely different route and would have probably been way further in life than I actually am, you know, in my eyes. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for a different day. Anyway, we back to talking financial literacy. Y'all know I get off I get off on my little tangents here, but anyhow, so what else you got for us?
I think that the school systems are not designed, the curriculums are not designed to teach what we need for our culture. I think what we're taught is basically what I said about the rat race. So if you don't have the good education, you have to be, first of all, if you're black, you're not really well educated. You're not respected if you're not educated if you're black in this system. So when you put your kids into the system like that and you say to them, you know, this is what we're going to traditionally do because this is what the system we were all taught into. So then you have parents who say, no, you have to go to college. So regardless of what you want to do, they're asking people at 10 and 11 years old what they want to do when they get older. And you're not realizing, I haven't even figured out who I am at 10 and 11. So I don't know that I want to be a fireman. I don't know that I want to do real estate while I'm 10 and 11. So you continue to push that child and then you put them in a situation where they don't really know what they want. And then we, in the black homes, we get to the point where we're like, oh, this person is 18, so they need to get a job. You need to do this, or you need to be responsible. And you push these kids out here, 18 and 19. World. Nobody's taught them anything about how to pay bills, how to you know, balance a checkbook, you know, how to save any money. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So you get that cycle going, and by the time the child's 18, 19, 21 years old, they may have been and had a child or whatever situation is. So now you're starting that cycle all over again. You just say, okay, listen, my kids are not, I have a 19-year-old and 13-year-old. I tell one is an artist. He's 13 years old. He likes to draw. He likes to, his imagination is very awesome. Very, very broad imagination. So the oldest one likes to do the video game. So he does the PlayStation 4s and you know, the gaming, and he wants to be a YouTuber and all of that. And my husband tells him, hey, you know, that's not a career for you.
We need to link our boys up for real, like on a play date or something.
Right. So I'm telling them, you can't try to push. Okay, so it's safer for you to be at home. Safer for you to be at home, me teaching you what you need to know and what steps you need to take, while you don't necessarily know if you want to go to college, or if you want, I just know if you find you a trade, if you want to start a business, think of some business you would like to open, something that you're good at. We can do that. He loves tennis shoes. Right. So I'm going to push them no matter what to make sure that they do something that is beneficial, not just for them, but for something that they can pass on. Because we don't do that. So the black community has the largest spending power there is. Yep. But we don't own shit.
Exactly.
Now, so aside from all of that, you still have to factor in the mentality that we have, that we're just going to continue the whole cycle of doing this all over again. So then we have people buying the Jordans. No disrespect to people who buy Jordans. No disrespect. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh well, you're hating because that's not what this is."
Right.
This is
we're not hating.
Your $200 go. $250 may go on the shoes, and you may stand in the line for 2 hours. I just may be like, okay, I would rather learn the stock market
that's and put $200 into the stock,
an Apple product or generic prescriptions, because people getting ready to be on some medicines considering this COVID and everything going on. But nobody's thinking like this. So when you get to talking like this, people think you crazy. So I have to tell my kids, like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Whatever plan you all come up with, I'm going to back you on that plan. If it's some critiquing we need to do, we'll do what we need to do. Right. But if you're not going to college, don't let your friends, all of my son's friends are in college. They all went to high school together. They went to St. Mary's High School. So he feels like all his friends are in college. He doesn't feel any type of way, but they may say to him, oh, your mom doesn't push you to go to school. No, because I want you to do because if you do what you love, you'll do it longer.
Yes, exactly.
When you do what the system wants you to do, you're not gonna comply with that very long. I wake up every day and say I don't want to go to my job. I know 15 different people who are gonna do the same thing.
Here I am.
So
nearly 40 years old, completely complacent in my career, and I've done HR my entire adult life, and now here I am sitting here doing podcast recordings and trying to sell y'all a book in a couple months. Like, I'm really just in a different space, and that's why it was so easy for me to take that step back with my son. And you said your son wants to do there's money to be made in that YouTubing and all that and stuff. So don't, I won't say push him, but don't discourage it either, because you might look up and he making millions of dollars as a YouTuber. And
he's not doing nothing. He's not doing nothing but being on the computer, which is safer for him to do than the environments that a lot of young black men are exposed to. So if you saying to me you want to play the video game for 10 hours, no, I don't think that's a good idea for you to sit there and pay it. If you say to me, Mom, I'm going to get paid for a video game, you're profiting from a video game, that's a whole totally different story. So then I'm like, okay, so what do you need? What did you need me to get? Because at first I used to be like, no, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying it. You don't clean up. You don't do what I asked you to do. But then as time went by and I seen he was serious, he was taking it serious. He wanted to create a stream of income from this, and so you have to back your kids when they're on absolutely. I want to create my own stream of income. We come from a generation of people where they only tell us the story about the enslavement. They're never going to tell you the story about the Black Wall Street. Yep. Because if we put too much information out there about the black culture being who we are, and being as divine beings as we are, as creative as we are, creating everything from toilets to airplanes.
Everything that we came up with.
Too many people will jump out of their seat to try to do it. Too many people will feel like, oh, I can do that.
I can do it. But you can absolutely do it.
But that's not what's shown in the media. Exactly. That's not what's shown out there for people to see great images of us. So we have to try to do that at home. Yep. So if I don't see that, I'm going to fall into the system that was created for me. The system created me to go to school and get a great job, come out, work forever.
Yep.
And that's not even considering retirement.
Yep.
Where you retire, you have nothing to leave to your kids, and that's when the bigger portion comes into it, where we're talking about life insurance. Because I just recently joined Six Figure Ambition, like I told you before.
So, talk about it. Educate us here.
They are with partner with Primerica.
Okay.
So they do life insurance solely. Basically do life insurance, but they have other different referral programs that they have, like auto and home insurance and stuff like that. But I found when I started doing this, I actually joined with them on October 23rd.
Okay.
I'm not licensed yet. My license haven't hit the system yet, but I've actually taken my test, so I will be a licensed insurance agent in the state of Missouri whenever they release my license.
Okay.
So I found when I was doing this and trying to recruit people and trying to see how many people had insurance, that a majority of people didn't. And the people who did, they had job insurance. So your job insurance is only going to cover you for your job.
Right.
So when you leave, there's no more
insurance.
You know, so you try to teach our people, like they'll say, oh, I already got insurance. And you be like, okay, so are you talking about job, or is this some insurance outside of your job?
Right.
Most of them is going to say job. You'll be surprised how many people say they don't have insurance at all. Young people with young kids. So it's just like, do you have insurance on your phone? Yeah, you know, I got the iPhone 11. I'm getting ready to get the new one that come out. They'll pay installments for the phone. You know, because you know, iPhones, you're not going in the store paying $1,100 for the iPhone. You're going to go in there, you're going to take the little $150 deal they give you. And they're going to say, we're going to bill you $40 every month on your bill. And you're going to pay it because you want the iPhone. But if I say to you, hey, your kids are not properly protected. If something happened to you today, you don't have enough savings to last your kids for 1 year, let alone 10 years. If something happens to you today.
Or however long they go need. Yes.
Right. But you'll tell me that a $54 policy you can't do a month, but you'll pay $44 for the iPhone.
Exactly.
And you're going to get the next one that come out because, you know, now this one is outdated. So now you have to
get the new one.
You're not through paying for that. So that's just how our community works. And so you have to it really makes you cringe your teeth. And I'm not saying that I wasn't one of those people. I am. I'm still growing out of trying to understand, okay, this is not what I'm doing. Because when you know better, you do better. So then once you get wiser, things just really don't make sense to you. And a lot of stuff that go on in our community, common sense will help it, but we don't tend to use that. We tend to go to what the mass majority wants us to do. And if it's not trending, we're not doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like if you love your kids that much, you love your family that much, then make sure that they protect it. So if something happened to me, my kids are not in a position to support themselves if something happened to me. I'm going to just keep it real with you. So as far as financially, as far as knowing how to survive on their own, they're not. So until they're able to do that, my son can't leave my house until he knows how to do it. Exactly. And that comes from growing your own food. That comes from using natural ways to heal yourself. All of those things you're going to need to know. So if somebody say, we're not dealing with you today or tomorrow, you have enough assets where you can liquidate or whatever you need to do so that you can get your money from it. You and your brother, you can take care of your brother, and then you can make sure that you have money where you need to do what you need to do. And if you drop, and if something happened where you didn't have any more money today, I want you to have the skill to be able to go get it again.
Damn, there you have it. That's 100. That is so real, and I can relate, because like you said, like it's been a cycle, and I made a decision. I'm gonna break that cycle with my kids, and that's why I have these conversations. Like, I've been talking credit and all this stuff with my kids for the longest. Like, my oldest son now, he's on it, working on building his credit, has his LLC and all that, working on building business, just everything he's doing. And like having those conversations with him and telling him, like, you know, you're not gonna leave this house. Because one day he was like, I'm gonna get me a place. He was working at the post office, and he's like, he gonna get a place. Like, boy, where you going? Like, no, you don't need to get a place. Like, we in the black community, there's a age-old conversation that's always you know, people talk about how black mothers, how the difference they make between their daughter and their sons. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a daughter yet. Y'all know I'm working on it, but not really. But how I am with my sons, and I can only imagine if I had a daughter, I think I would be the same way. But I just recall growing up in a household where how my mother was with me and my brother. My brother's the oldest. My brother left too, and I left too, but when he came back, he was more welcomed and received because he's a boy. And I, like all of us, we have enabled my older brother to the point where he has turned into, for a brief moment, he had a moment where he couldn't stand on his own 2 feet, and he needed us to support him. Like, my mom's no longer here, but I just recall like how just that whole, the dynamics of the relationship with my mom versus the relationship with my brother, and how she handled each of us. I made a commitment to myself. I'm not gonna, you know, I had my son, and I left by choice, but it was by choice because it was like, why stay? You know what I'm saying? But with my son and both my boys, I'm never getting ready to send them out into the world where they can't fend for themselves. They can't figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we put our kids out into this world, and that's how they end up in massive debt. They end up, you know, getting apartments. They need to get a car, get an apartment and stuff like that. You know, no, I bought, like, my son's first car. I bought him his first car. The car that he has now, it's my old car. I'm like, I don't have a car. I drive his car. But it's just, my thought process is, you equip your kids with what they need before you send them out into the world. Because in other communities, the white people, let's just keep it 100, white people, they'll stay with their parents and, you know, come out of college, they'll stack their bread, and then they go and buy a house and have the money to buy the house, you know, flat out buy the house and stuff. We're not equipping our kids with that, and I hate to do the comparison, but it's just the reality of what it is. You know what I'm saying? We send our kids out into the world like we, you know, they living in our house. You're going to help. You know what I'm saying? You live in my house, you're going to help. You're going to contribute, because you have to learn how to be an adult.
Right.
But even with my son, I'm not asking him for nothing. Live your life.
Right.
Stack your bread. I want you to be successful. I want you to be able to leave here and have the tools and resources that you need, and I'm going to help you in any way that I can. Not every household is like that.
Right.
And that's where we end up in debt at, because they so busy, so quick to run out the house, to get out the house, to get away from the drama and the hounding or whatever, you know. And then they want to run and get these apartments, get these cars, end up in credit card debt, and they don't even understand the credit card debt. They don't understand any of that. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Go ahead. I'm giving you back the floor. I'm just looking at the camera to make sure we got some time. We got some time on the camera. But go ahead. I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
So we don't practice group economics as a culture. So, like you brought up about how white people stay with their parents until they're able to get on their feet. That's not just them. So there's Asians, there's Spanish people, you know, Hispanic people. They all do that.
Yep.
So you'll see an Hispanic population with 10 people staying
in the house,
and people say, I don't see how all of them can stay in the home. You know, I wouldn't be able to do that, because, you know, black people, we're too concerned about our privacy, or you know, I don't want all them people staying with me. You know, I need to be by myself. And while, you know, the Hispanic home, they have 10 people staying there, and majority of them work. So that's 10 incomes.
Yep.
So now how much, so if you're paying a mortgage, the mortgage is only in one person's name.
Right.
The rent is only in one person's name. So if you split that 10 ways, everybody in the house winning. So it's like, we need to learn that we can practice group economics amongst one another, you know, and that's the only way that we're going to survive economically.
Exactly.
So we want to stay away from the economic part, and we don't understand that's the only way. You see what I'm saying? When we're growing up, we were playing Monopoly, and we thought Monopoly was just a game. Monopoly was actually made in a recession.
Okay.
So when recession was happening, that game came out. And the man who made it didn't make it for no reason. He made it because that's how life works. It works by real estate. You got your houses on the board. If you go past here, you got to pay some money. When you go on this person's property, you got to pay some money. That's real life.
That's real.
But we took the money out of it, took the dice out of it, and we started playing another game. Instead of playing Monopoly.
Exactly.
Not realizing, when I got older, I realized, oh shit, this was real. Like, this game was real life with what was going on. And for somebody to make that through a recession goes to show where their mind was. So the thing is that we take things more seriously and stop trying to just be like, oh, okay, we want to do what's trending, because what's trending is not going to set you up financially.
Right.
So we need to start being grounded in what we're doing at home. If you weren't taught that years ago, that's fine. Then connect yourself with some people who know this, so that way you can work with them. If you hanging around with 4 rich people, you're going to be the 5th one.
Exactly.
If you're hanging around with
4 broke people, you're going to be the 5th broke person. Exactly.
So basically the whole group economics thing. So if we start to practice that, we can do better. If we start to buy up property, like we buy shoes and like we buy weave. So there's more lace fronts being bought than anything in the black community.
Yes.
So hair is a big business. Shoes is a big business, and that's fine. Clothing is a big business. Nothing is wrong with any of that, but we're more than that. Like we can create some things. We can get creative, and if we all just stick together, figure out how we can buy up some blocks and try to put some things together, which is not going to be easy because who wants you to come buy their whole neighborhood up? Now they can come and gentrify your neighborhood and buy your whole neighborhood, but you can't go buy it.
Make them uncomfortable. Make them uncomfortable.
We just have to, as a community, we just have to buckle down, so that way we can understand, it's not just about the fun and games, it's not about the plan, because none of that, when your kids growing up and they ask you as you get older, oh, well, what did you used to do when you was younger, or what did you, what really are you going to tell them when you continue to stay in that cycle, and then you see it don't work. So it's just like, I see that me going to work every day, 2 household incomes, you barely have that anymore.
Right.
And then people are barely surviving 2 household incomes.
Yes.
There were some statistics that I read like last year that said the average person, the average American doesn't have $300 in their savings account.
Wow.
80% of people are on Medicaid. 60 to 80% of people are on Medicaid. So it's just like, all of this stuff and this persona that we put out, like we have so much, we want to wear the Gucci shoes, we want to wear the Christian Louboutin,
and I ain't got insurance,
and you don't have insurance on yourself. I mean, that don't make sense to me.
That's one thing I'ma always have. If I'm in between anything, like I'm going to make sure I have that insurance. Like I pay my insurance, it automatically comes out, and that's the one thing I've never taken off of auto pay either. Like I'm going to automatically pay that insurance regardless, because I just recognize anything can happen today or tomorrow.
Right.
And I don't ever want my kids to be sitting up like their dad's there and he's going to step up if he's still here. But I don't ever want them to sit up and be like, Mama, like this it, like trying to fend for themselves and figure it out. Like, what are we supposed to do now? Like, nah, you have to look out for those kids, and not just the kids. It's all about building wealth and ensuring that there's financial security for you and yours. And when you're talking about the what were you talking about?
Buying up property.
No, before that we were talking about
the households and
yeah,
how we don't practice group economics.
Yes, that's from my mind. That's my second glass of wine. I poured that glass before you got here. But no, practicing group economics in the Asian communities, how they do, where they, they'll get a business, everybody put in 10,000, 20,000. Like I done straight had conversations with like my friends that are of Asian descent and things like that, where like the beauty supplies and the Chinese restaurants, nail shops, stuff like that, they all go work together. They go put they 10 grand in, they go open their business up, and then they do it again. And that's how they keep popping up with this restaurant, this beauty supply, this nail salon. You know what I'm saying? We need to, people look at it as, the competition. Let's talk. I just stuck a nerve. Like the competition. You see all these different, boutiques and stuff popping up. And I go through and I try my best to support everybody, right? And I just be like, man, I'm just straight set up and like, if these two people, because they pretty much selling the same stuff, I'm like, man, if they came together, they'll be a force to be reckoned with. But I'm never going to hit this person up and be like, y'all should just combine y'all shit and y'all could be even bigger. You know what I'm saying? But that's how my thought process is, like how I think about things like that. But I go ahead, say what you gotta say, because I know I see y'all struck a nerve when I said that. But yeah, man,
the competition is real. Now we can't get anywhere if everybody is in competition. We know from history or from anything you do, there's always somebody better at it than you are.
Yep.
We can't sit in a room. You can sit in a room if you're smart, of 100 people who know a whole bunch of things that you don't know.
Yes.
There's 2 things going to happen to you. You're either going to learn something from them, or you're going to hate on them and you're not going to learn anything. So you're going to leave the room either 2 ways. So my thing is that the people who are in competition, the people who are hating on other people, you're missing out on the opportunity. Because if I know that you're wiser than I am, if I know I'm with a group and they're making 6 figures, I want to do everything that you did.
Right.
So if that means I have to copy everything that you do, then I'm gonna be a copycat.
Right, because I can learn from you, and people fail to realize that, especially us women, where it's just such a fierce competition in every damn thing that we tend to do, and it's like it's not necessary.
No,
it's in the black community with black women. It is not necessary. We can all eat, and then I hate the fact that people, regardless if you the realest in the room, they're gonna support who's popular.
They're gonna support
people. Black people, we support popularity, and it doesn't matter if this person could be leading you to the
your grave. They could be leading you to your demise.
To your demise.
And you'll support it.
And you're gonna support it because of popularity.
Yep.
Whereas, you know what I'm saying, you know, I'm gonna speak on myself. Like me, I'm not a popular person. But I know other people who push in other bullshit in their podcasts where it's like they're talking just the most heinous, craziness. But I'm not getting the support that I should be getting, or I feel like I should be getting when I'm out here. I'm dropping real life gems on here. I'm straight trying to call myself kicking knowledge, but we're not going to go off into that because I don't feel the way, because I'm a firm believer. The people who support me, that's who's supposed to support me. And my message not meant for everybody. It's not meant for everybody to receive. And the people who are going to receive it, you know, that's your tribe. Those are the people, you know, that's who I'm talking to. So I don't feel the way. I just know that I acknowledge it. Like, I'm aware of, you know, people support popularity. And I just be like, okay, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But we just, for real, like, I just wish someday, one day, soon, with this pandemic, this should have been the time right here. This whole pandemic should have been a time where people start opening their eyes and recognizing, like, we cannot, like, if we pool our resources, if we do this, if we come together, we can come out of this. And, you know, who knows on the other side what it's going to look like, but not everybody think like that.
Right, but you have to put our people in uncomfortable situations for them to do that. So, like, with the coronavirus and people being out of work, being unemployed, you know, they're getting unemployment benefits. You can't go back to work. Your hours got cut down at work, so you're not making as much as you were at first. When you back us up against the wall long enough, we have to come out with something. So we're only under that type of pressure. To me, I seem like we learn to create different avenues because we're very creative. Like a whole bunch of things they try to do to keep us in a situation where they try to keep their foot on our neck. We always wind up wiggling out of it because we're like, okay, we've always had to struggle throughout life. So it's just kind of like we can withstand things that most cultures cannot do.
I agree.
So I may be broke for 6 months and it'll mess me up mentally where I'll be like, oh man, that's messed up. But I've been broke years before. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to come out of there. Whereas other people, that'll send them straight into depression and they have to be on somebody else's couch. So
jumped off a bridge or something like that. You know?
It just depends. So the thing is that we don't stick together as far as the group economics. We you know, we should be more supportive of one another, and we should be willing to learn. Everybody think they know everything. Okay, so that's impossible. Because if 70% of people, 80% of people are on Medicaid, 300 people, more than, you know, there's an average American don't have $300 in their bank account. It's a lot we don't know. Right. Because it's something we doing wrong. Exactly. So then, you know, you get into situations where you can join teams, or we call it networking, you know, and we network with the people we want to network to. And that's cool. I understand that because I want to network with people who I want to switch positions with. And if I don't want to switch positions with you, I'm probably not going to network with you. Learn something from anybody. So we feel like you have to learn something from the person who has the PhD. We have to respect the person who have the bachelor's, you know. We feel like that they know everything. When you realize those people who are book smart, or who are, I consider myself to be a book smart person too. I'm self-taught in most of the stuff I do. So I do herbals. I'm getting ready to be a certified herbalist. Okay. So I self-teach myself. So it's just like, I think we have the whole thing with the miseducation of people with the degrees, and we feel like that they know more. But you can learn something from the trash man. Now, I may not trade financial positions with someone who I don't see fit to trade financial positions with. Right. But that's not to say that I can't learn anything
exactly.
from them. You may be able to teach me something that I wasn't able to, that I didn't know, or make me look at something a different way than I would have, regardless of what walk of life you come from. So we have to consider that you can learn from a room of people regardless who they are. And I think in our community, we have to get back to allowing that to happen, putting ourselves in positions where we can receive that information and not be with a cold shoulder or feel like that somebody is, you with a group of people, and as long as you're on the same level, everybody cool. The minute you step your foot forward, then everybody got a problem.
Who she thinks she is, who he think he is. And I said that when I first kicked off this podcast, y'all, and I don't mean to cut you off. I just said I was gonna stop cutting her off, but I said that when I first started this podcast. That was one of my first posts before I even announced the podcast. I was like, it's getting ready to be a whole lot of who she thinks she is. And we play ourselves small, and that's something about me. I absolutely do that. I downplay myself all the time. I hate people putting a spotlight on me like, well, what are you doing? Like, I got a friend, and a lot of my friends in my circles, they all call me Dr. Ross. And I be like, stop it, I'm just Mo. And they like, Mo, that's such a huge accomplishment. Take it, just accept it. And like one of my good friends, she always, everything is doctored, and I'll be like, she's just so proud of it. And she's like, why are you not proud of it? It's like, I am, but I didn't do it for people to be like, doctor, I'm just not that person. I'm so just, I'm me, I'm Mo. Just Mo. Like, it's that simple for me. But I have so much knowledge. I consider myself book smart and street smart. Like, I had a best of both worlds because I came from the hood. And I know people who like straight up know me. They turn their nose up at me. And I don't come off as like I'm better than anybody, like, at all. Like, I'm the coolest motherfucker I know, y'all. And I don't come off as, I'm this or I'm that. And people don't understand. And I'm ready and willing to share anything I have, any knowledge, any resources I have with anybody. But because you put in this box because you've achieved this accomplishment or that accomplishment, and people don't understand, like, I'm still the same person. We all got the same 24 hours. It's just what you did with yours and what I did with mine. And I chose to pursue education. And I got people who don't have a drop of education, and I straight look up to them. I admire them for their tenacity, their ambition, and just things like that. But not everybody has that thought process. People look at your accomplishments with jealous minds, or they look at your achievements or the knowledge that you have and think that I'm not going to learn anything from them. And people can't. What's the post? It's a meme that says, people not going to support you. You want to know why your friends and family don't support you, how strangers do, because they can't accept the fact that y'all come from the same place. And you're doing this position. Exactly. But anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox once again, y'all. I'm gonna give baby girl over here the seat once more so we can wrap this up. But any parting thoughts? What else you got for the fuckers out there?
Final thoughts is just getting our community to understand that we have to portion to the economy, and I'm not just talking about spending. I'm talking about starting to self-educate yourself so that you can teach your children, me including myself. Because I still have a lot to learn about finances. I didn't learn most of this until I was almost 30. I'm 37, so I'm 7 years too late. I'm 7 years, I'm 30 years too late. So it's like, we have to do better with teaching it. We have to work together. We have to practice group economics. We have to support one another. And support don't necessarily mean like, genuine support. You don't genuinely support Walmart when you go. You just go there and you grab your things because you need what you need. So it's just like support is support. And the whole thing, I'm just going to piggyback on one thing you said about the Asian communities, and they get all this money together and they give $10,000 for one person in the Asian community to start their business, and they start that cycle all over. This whole gifting boarding thing that goes on, that's exactly what they doing.
And so everybody, like, you see people shitting on it, just talking down on it and stuff. I participated but I didn't get the results that everybody else did. But I understood it, and I get it, and I said the exact same thing. I said, this is exactly what other communities do.
Right. This is what we've been doing. Like, it was named something totally different years ago when people were actually doing it. It wasn't like a board like it is now. But people will put money into a pot to help the people in their group move forward with their businesses and their family. And once they did it enough where everybody got on their feet, they had a community. And so just basically what I'm saying to our people, I'm not saying go out and get in gifting boards, because pyramid schemes are illegal. So let me just give a disclaimer. They are definitely illegal. So, but I'm saying that the concept is not new, it's old.
Right.
And if we practice that, we can come together and get things to, buy up things and get our community situated economically. So I'm just leave it at that.
There it is. There it is. There you have it, y'all. Drop it off in the comments. Let us know what y'all thought about this episode today on financial literacy. Share the episode. Comment. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel or any of the other platforms in which Pure Phuckery is distributed on, go ahead and hit that like button so that you can subscribe or whatever button it is that you have to hit. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all the likes, the comments, the shares. You want to plug your socials? If you got an Instagram, you want to tell them where they can follow you?
Follow me on Facebook, Arlena Wortham, ARLENA WORTHAM. You can follow me on Instagram at She Confident Makeup. I also do makeup. If you follow me on Facebook, if you're looking for life insurance, doing protection for your income, debt protection for your family, you can reach me on Facebook. You can inbox me, and I can get with you for us to set up policies. If you want to learn about trying to invest, you can definitely contact me through a Facebook. You can inbox me through Facebook, and I'll get back with you.
All right, y'all know y'all can find me on Instagram. It's SOO Sophisticated 1 on Instagram, or Pure_Phuckery. I'm on Facebook. It's Monique Ross. Twitter, SOO Mo MOE. Follow me. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. I appreciate you all for tuning in to Pure Phuckery, the podcast. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Peace.